Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Did you know that China, Russia, and India are creating their own payment system in competition with SWIFT? And do you know why they're doing it? Well, I'm going to tell you. And if you did know, even if you did you know that this has been in the works since 2014? Well, I'm going to tell you all about this because the XRP community is questioning, okay, if they're doing this, what's settlement going to look like? Is XRP going to be used? And I've got 3 articles I want to share with you on this topic to make multiple points. So I'm mostly going to be running through that in this video. I've also got a very cool XRP story in a Twitter thread from an XRP community member I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And it's about this particular community member sharing knowledge of XRP with a family member who shared it with more people, and just kind of like the power of just kind of getting the word out there organically. I thought it was a neat story, so I'm going to share it with you. The last piece I have in this video, unrelated, so I'm saving for the end, but interesting nonetheless. It's an article from AMB Crypto titled, "Bitcoin Will End the US Dollar." That sounds scary. Binance investor Andy Chin says. Now, before we get going here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you would please delicately tap that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you know you love your mama. She would approve. The first article here is titled, "Ripple Community Speculates on China, Russia, India's Plan to Set Up SWIFT Rival. Will XRP Be Involved?" All right. As reported by Russia Today, RT, 3 major players, China, Russia, and India, intend to avoid using the SWIFT system of funds transferring and create their own network for fast payments by connecting the already existing systems of electronic payments. Some members of the Ripple community hope that the new payment system used between 3 biggest countries is going to utilize XRP for liquidity. Now, you should more appropriately call that the XRP community, not the Ripple community. I hope you don't mind me parsing your words there, Mr. Author. RT's report has it that the Russian-based system of payments, SPFS, is going to connect with the Chinese system of payments, CIPS. India has not launched a similar project yet, however. That's redundant. They said yet and then however. That is redundant, crypto media. Get your act together. Local engineers are working to build it. Meanwhile, India intends to connect to the Russian-based transnational payment system. Back in 2014, Russia started working on its SPFS payment system when the U.S. said it might cut off the country from using SWIFT. The first trials of the new platform took place 2 years ago. And let me scroll down a little further. Subheading, Ripple community hopes China and Russia will use XRP for liquidity. While discussing the news about the recent blockchain boom in China caused by the statement of President Xi Jinping and the story about Russia, China, and India joining forces in the field of transnational payments, some members of the XRP community, see, they got it right there. Instead of Ripple community, this time they said XRP community. See, you got to pick one or the other. Now, this is the right one, but you, Mr. Crypto Author, are being inconsistent. Some members of the XRP community assumed that XRP may be the coin chosen to provide liquidity in the new joint system. And there's a tweet on screen from an XRP community member on that particular topic. Take a look at this. Now, here's a tweet from Jack the Rippler, and it's got one of these bearable guy pictures here. And I'm sure there's some people listening to the community that kind of were, following the bearable guy thing and thought that there was something to 589, this or that. I never did. No offense to you whatsoever. If you are on board, I'm okay with diversity of thought. But to me, there was never anything to it. And as a result, just my humble opinion, this is not a dig at anyone whatsoever. I don't think anyone would take it that way, but I like to be extra careful because I love you guys. But, so as far as the picture, with anything with bearable guy, I can't associate with that with anything that is to be taken seriously. Just my humble opinion. It's okay if you disagree, but that's just what I think here. But anyway, so Jack the Rippler tweeted out, China is coming, stay tuned, and then got that picture associated with it. So just my humble opinion again anyway. And then they got a subheading. I'm not really going to read this part, just like a few sentences about China launching their own digital currency. Not going to be associated with this whatsoever. There's no evidence to support that. Now, look, we know that in terms of settlement, you can have a payment system, Russia, China, India, sure, go ahead and develop your payment system. But in terms of settlement, understand that there's the only solution to the fractured global payment system ever devised by mankind requires the utilization of a cryptocurrency that has an open market value. That is, a cryptocurrency that is not backed by anything other than speculator confidence. That's it. Period. Cannot be backed by fiat currency, cannot be backed by gold, cannot be backed by jelly beans. Okay, maybe jelly beans, those are delicious at times. I'm just saying, look, it cannot be backed by anything, because otherwise what you're doing is you're siloing off just another type of value. Just, if you look around the world, there's no interoperability if you do that. If you use it, that's why you can't use a stable coin as a bridge currency if you really want interoperability across the world. Cannot be used. And so the question becomes, what cryptocurrency could be used there? You need something that's fast, low fees, and doesn't use a lot of energy. Of course, ding, 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 XRP, right? That makes sense. Doesn't mean that, look, there's no evidence that this payment system being discussed in this article, there is no evidence, period, that XRP is going to be utilized. This is not a hype channel. I'm just stating the facts. But if you're going to talk, I will say this, though. If you're going to talk about what makes sense to you, given that I'm telling you, if you want to fix this problem, I know for sure, if you understand the corresponding banking system, you know it as well. A cryptocurrency has to be used because there is, period, no other solution. Given that we know that, look at what's being built out here. Look what Ripple is seeking to build out. A healthy XRP ecosystem. They're encouraging market makers so that XRP indeed has enough liquidity, and with the right blend of price level versus liquidity, they can handle certain levels of demand as demand continues to increase for on-demand liquidity product from Ripple, previously known as XRapid. So that is all indeed being developed here. And so what you're talking about here is you can't just snap your fingers, create a cryptocurrency, and then have real-world adoption the world over, have it listed on 150 exchanges, which is the case for XRP, somewhere thereabout anyway. You can't just snap your fingers and have that happen. You can't force people to adopt a digital asset and assign value to it. Okay, but given that this has already happened with XRP and this whole ecosystem is being built out, if you are building a payment system, even if you're not Ripple, if you're not Swift, if you want corridors with liquidity, maybe follow the company that's making this happen. Why not utilize XRP? And so what I'm saying is, although it's true, because I'm a realist here, I'm not a hype guy, there's no evidence to state that XRP would be used for this. If you're going to build a payment system, if your goal is interoperability, you got to pick a digital currency. You've got to use a cryptocurrency. That is it. And given that liquidity around the world matters, it's being built out right now. Let Ripple do the hard work on that part. Whatever, why not? And then you can indeed use XRP. It's decentralized ledger technology. Nobody can stop you. So why not? All you're doing is using software to connect to make the payment flows possible. That's it at that point. So to me, I'm just saying it's not crazy. If something like this were to happen, there were other payment systems. It's not a nuts idea. I'm just saying, again, there's no evidence to it. And then this is the article that article came from. I'm not going to read through this just for the sake of time. It's pretty much a repeat of the content. But the third one, I wanted to read just this little top part here. And this is from CNBC. Russia, and this is when was this? Back in 20? Yeah, so this one's older. The article I just read was brand new. Same for the RT.com article, brand new. This one is from May 23rd of 2018, and it's titled Russia's Central Bank Governor Touts Moscow Alternative to Swift Transfer System as Protection from U.S. Sanctions. So I just want to read the top part. Russia has developed its own system for financial transfers that would protect it from a potential shutout of the SWIFT global transfer system in the event of harsher U.S. sanctions, its central bank governor said Wednesday at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. But analysts have questioned the viability of Moscow's transfer system. There are risks in using the global financial networks, the global financial system, of which Russia is a part. Russian central bank chief Elvira Nabiullina, I don't know how to say that, told CNBC's Jeff Cutmore during the forum. I think I got that right. Therefore, since back in 2014, we have been developing our own systems, including a payment system. Inside Russia, we have created a system for transferring financial data, which is similar to SWIFT. So there you go. You're talking about payments there in terms of settlement. There is no solution there, and they cited the rationale for doing it. They don't want to be caught off from the rest of the world as it pertains to the movement of money. Sanctions are a real thing on planet Earth here, and I think they recognize that. So anyway, it's been in the works for 5 years and not really functioning yet. But there we are. That's the speculation of the day. Take a look at this. I like this. This is from Craig Thomas right here. It's a Twitter thread. And Craig, thank you very much. I hope you're watching. Thank you very much for tagging me along with some other XRP community members here. I really enjoyed reading through this, and I want to share it with everybody. So check this out. I think you're going to enjoy this. XRP Story Time, he writes. I have been holding XRP for quite some time. And naturally, the excitement boils over, and we all eventually want to talk about it to someone. I taught my 61-year-old father about it. As I explained more, he decided to start a Coinbase account and make his first purchase. Shortly after, he began to raise his goal to a more substantial size, and I warned him that it could get more expensive if he waited. He wasn't worried because he wants to hold it for a few years minimum, so he may have a nice bump when retirement comes along. We agreed to take some of our silver collection and sell it to fatten both of our bags significantly. This morning, he took the metal to a jeweler/coin dealer, and the transaction was fair and professional, yet the owner, an older gentleman, was curious why he was selling. My dad was very vague, saying that he loves silver long-term, but wanted to put the value in something a bit more active. The old man inquired as to what that might be. My dad asked him if he had ever heard of cryptocurrency. The old man looked at his 20-something-year-old son, whose face lit up, and the young man said, "Oh, like Bitcoin?" My dad said, "Actually, it's XRP, and it has a real utility that is being used today." The old man was very interested and grabbed his pen and pad. He asked my dad where he could find this XRP and information about it. My dad listed several resources for him to research and explained that the goal of Ripple was to move value faster and cheaper than ever before. My dad is the type of person that thinks cell phones are unnecessary because he lived so long without one. Even with that, just by being level-headed and explaining the utility, even this old dog can see the writing on the wall. He was a great advocate for this, and although he wasn't able to hit every big point, he made an impression. The people that are putting out information are the reason I know, the reason my father knows it from me, and it is spreading. XRP the standard, XRP community. That is a cool story, is it not? So, Craig, thank you so much for tagging me in that. That's awesome. And, we all have these spiderweb type of effects. You never know the effect of telling one person one thing in life, whatever the topic, and how that might affect them and what they might tell other people, how other people might behave. And I just found this really cool and very fascinating, and I certainly talk about it myself. And you're going to get some people that are receptive and some people that just don't get it, and then they can see in hindsight that maybe they should have done something else. Now, by the way, none of this is financial advice. I don't have a financial background. I'm just saying, from my perspective, it makes a lot of sense. Just my everyday Joe Schmo opinion makes a lot of sense to invest in XRP. That's why I do it for myself. All right, last piece here. A&B Crypto. Bitcoin will end the U.S. dollar. Binance investor Andy Chen. As a result of China taking prominent steps in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space recently, entrepreneurs including the head of the Binance Charity Foundation, Helen Hai, and crypto investor Andy Chen featured in a CGTN interview to discuss the expected disruption globally and within China. Sharing their personal perspectives on the Chinese news channel, Chen said, quote, "Bitcoin will end the U.S. dollar. The fiat money will fail in 3 or 5 years due to a big economic crash, and Bitcoin's price will go much more higher." Much more is redundant. No, it's not. It's okay, whatever. I was thinking in real time. Sometimes I'm wrong. Look, as far as the Bitcoin ending the U.S. dollar, I'm glad that he said if anything's going to do it, I'm not saying this is going to happen at all. I'm not saying that, but acknowledged it would be a big economic crash. So that's why to state that Bitcoin will end the U.S. dollar, it's just, even on the surface level, stating something like that is just disingenuous. That's not the way this is going down. It's more like if a fiat currency fails, then maybe a cryptocurrency could jump in and take its place, but from a technological perspective, Bitcoin just simply can't do it. It cannot, at least not today. I don't know if that's ever going to change. Maybe, but probably not. I'm highly skeptical anyway. At a minimum, I'm highly skeptical. And even then, there's such a frenzy around the asset class. There's so much volatility. People can't really use this stuff reasonably as money. Not really. But I think the frenzy will die down at some point, and at some point in the future, it could be decades from now, maybe sooner. I don't know. I don't put a timestamp on this, but I could definitely see a world in which cryptocurrencies are used in the place of fiat currencies that have failed. or no longer have trust by those that had traditionally used them. So you can think third world countries, runaway, rampant inflation, corrupt governments, printing money like crazy, stuff like that. So I'm not saying that the US dollar is going to fail. I will say that the US debt is completely outrageous, but that's not the thrust of this video, so I'm not going to get any further into it than that. But anyway, I think that really that was the primary point to be made. I don't think I need to speak any further. I might as well just wrap the video up. But conceptually, it's just so funny to me. The first use case ever considered to be used for cryptocurrency may be the last to ever actually take hold. But that's it. You can do other stuff with cryptocurrencies today, especially the way Ripple is utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. Thank you very much for watching. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!